Hey everyone, it's SJ, welcome round. Today's baby name list is this part 2 of your guys' lists. So last week I did sort of reacting to all my viewers' favourite baby names. There were over 700 sent to me. I went through all of them and reacted to sort of categorising them, the best vintage ones, the modern ones. But as I was going through, I found so many names that just came up again and again, chosen by you guys as your favourite boy name or your favourite girl name. And there's sort of like the cream rose to the top and I sifted them out and shared them to put them all together for a special name list today. It's so much fun to have your guys' input. I always absolutely love it. They're always my favourite videos, and it also just really helps because we get to know what kind of rare and unique names modern parents are loving right now, right this minute, because it is happening live on YouTube, which is so much fun. So I will get on with the name list. Don't forget you can always join in with these videos over on my community tab. Hit subscribe, click along, and I will post stuff you can get involved with over there, and also there's tons of baby name videos to watch. I make baby name videos on YouTube every single week because, you know, mum's got to have a hobby. And if you think of it, I've probably done it, and I will pop all my previous name lists below so you can go and find something that you absolutely love. So let me get on with today's list. So one name I was so surprised came up so much, and it was the name Artemis. So she's a Greek goddess, and we love goddess names. There's so many strong female kind of heroines on this list really that we're kind of naming our girls after. And Artemis was a Greek goddess. She was the sister to Apollo, daughter of Zeus, and she was kind of known as the patron of women. So she was protection over childbirth, patron of young girls. So really brilliant sisterhood, feminine warrior figure, and I'm all about the sisterhood and women supporting women. So Artemis just seems like somebody who really brings that modern spirit to life as a name, and I wonder if that's why so many of you are loving it. And those kind of more different names, of course, we all want to kind of stand out a little bit with our name choices, particularly the younger parents. So it's only at number 838 right now for girls, but you guys were picking it a lot, and actually there were 7 boys named Artemis last year as well, which is kind of funny because she was a female warrior, but it works so well. Artie, such a brilliant nickname. Isn't Artemis also... Is Artemis the owl in Sword in the Stone? I haven't fact checked this, and I don't want to non-fact check a Disney fact, but I feel like it is. For boys, a name that kept coming up was the name Rowan. And it's such a great name. It's a nature name actually. And it's really interesting again because it's only ranked at number 1,439. But so many of you were referencing it as your favourite boy name. It sounds super modern, and it's a tree name. And tree names, they run throughout this whole list. Every time I looked at the meaning of the names, so many of them have tree names. And Rowan also means red because the tree is known for its red berries. Beautiful, beautiful tree. And also, the trees all have meanings, and the Rowan tree was a sacred tree for a very long time and symbolised protection. So beautiful sounding name for a baby with a lovely, lovely meaning as well. So I can see why that might be gaining in popularity very soon, judging on the names that you guys love. Another name that's not been on my list ever, but you guys were loving it, is the name Vader. So instant My Girl flashbacks. The movie My Girl was actually set in the 1970s, and you remember Vader? So it's a real antique girl's name, really beautiful. It's also got a Sanskrit meaning knowledge, and Sanskrit names are really popular. There's another one on this list actually. We're very spiritual as a kind of generation of mums, and after everything that's gone on this year, I can see why Vader is kind of going up through the ranks. And the V sound, you know, Olivia being our #1 name, V, it's just one of our favourite sounds for girls because it's so pretty. So Vader, Ada, really popular as well. So really, really special, special name. Next up for boys was the name Reuben. Reuben's kind of been one of those that's kind of gently bubbled away for quite a long time, but it's never really hit the top of the chart. But it seems to be having its major moment. It's a really lovely name, of course, really soft as well. Maybe we're loving the R sound for boys. And it's got 2 different spellings. So spelt the simple way, just R-U-B-E-N. It's a little bit lower down at the ranks. It's at 132, but the R-E-U-B-E-N is higher up. actually at number 44. So if you kind of combine both spellings, they're both quite high together. You can see that this really is such a popular boy name. A really cool meaning, because it means behold, a son, like kind of like recognizing that you have this son, which is so gorgeous. Yeah, so Reuben is a name that modern parents are absolutely loving. So many of you mentioned the name Layla. For girls, I'm not surprised, it's at number 217, so it's quite far down the chart, but Lily is obviously in the top 10, and I think that is always a desire, I think, from chatting to you guys, to pick something slightly more unique, and Layla really works with that. It's got a couple of different meanings. Sometimes it comes up as meaning lilac tree, which I've popped in there because it's just so pretty, and to me I instantly do think of the lilac colour for a Layla, but really it has kind of Persian roots, the same as Layla, and kind of means night, which also is gorgeous, kind of more exotic, kind of a darker theme, kind of a cozier theme, going in for a winter baby maybe. A little Layla, nickname for Delilah as well, which is one of our fastest rising popular girl names. I did that list a couple of weeks ago if you want to know what are the ones storming up through the charts, but you guys are much preferring Layla. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I totally agree with you. I love L names for girls, and I think this is such a pretty one. Bodhi is still one of your favourite baby names. It's a Sanskrit name meaning awakening, and it's just one of those, it's come from nowhere, but you guys really love it. I think it just feels so modern. I think we have this lifestyle kind of shift, particularly in 2020, where we want to be much more spiritual, much more connected to the world around us, a holistic well-being lifestyle that a lot of us want for ourselves and our kids, and Bodhi just seems to be like the perfect little name for that type of baby. It's getting used for boys mainly, but remember a while ago I mentioned that there's a little girl in one of my daughter's classes called Bodhi, and now it started to get some pickup for girls. There were 14 baby girls named Bodhi last year, so I think it's a gorgeous girl choice, so unexpected, and it's ranked at number 192 for boys, so more common, getting more used. What do you think of the name Bodhi? Another tree name that is so gorgeous for girls is Eloin. So it's a Cornish name. So my accent naturally is I'm from Wiltshire, and I roll my R's quite a lot, and I sort of tone it in and out because it's hard to say the name sometimes, but you would normally, from what I've read with Eloin, is when it's got the O in the middle, the Cornish way and the Welsh way is you put the O in the middle as a more pronounced sound. So I would maybe say Eloin, but I think correctly you would say Eloin, but it really doesn't matter. You know, if you're choosing this name, you say it how you love it. My sister's called Naomi, and I know it always annoyed my mum when people say Naomi. She's like, Naomi. So if that's going to bug you, then don't pick this name, but I just think it's gorgeous. So gorgeous. So unique in some ways. You know, it's reminiscent of lots of names like Eleanor and everything like that, but Eloin, just perfect. Just such a simple little name, and it means elm tree, so another nature name. She could have trees all around her room, it would be so pretty. A few of you mentioned this name, and I was so surprised, it's totally unranked, but a few of you mentioned the name Briggs. So I love names that end in an S. I've got a bit of a question on them at the moment because it's that surname as first name thing, but ending in the S just sounds so cool, doesn't it? Is it Hilary Duff? She's got Banks. Always, that just reminds me so much of Mary Poppins, because I've got a very boring reference. It's probably something much more edgy. I'm like, oh, Mary Poppins. But Briggs, how cool is that? That a few of you love that name and mentioned it. So I had to look into what it means, and it was traditionally a place name, so it meant dweller by a bridge. And when we look in really back in time about how names were used, it was often to place you, so that people would know where to find you. So you would be called Briggs if you lived near the bridge, so that people could come and find you, or it was your occupation, which is why obviously we have Smith and Black and all of those names, which would have been our occupations. So it's really interesting that Briggs is one of those. So if you do live near a bridge, perfect. But it's totally unranked, but loving that you guys, a few of you mentioning how much you love the name Briggs. And then last up is a gender neutral one really, but most of you had it as a favourite for girls, but there was also came up for boys as well, and it was the name Perry. Ah, I love it, and it means pear tree. So glad to have another tree one in there. It's so funny. I think it's just a coincidence, but how many tree names? I love tree names. If it's got a tree meaning, I normally really like it. Makes me like it even more because I am really into meanings. And Perry, what a great name. And it's really interesting because it was so popular in the 90s, and then it went zoomed right out of style, straight at the end of the 90s. I don't know if that was to do with, there was a comedian called Harry Enfield who created a character as Kevin and Perry, and they did a movie about them, and Kevin and Perry were like these like real kind of like nerdy teenagers who were really lazy, and it was kind of like a stereotypical teenager thing. So I wonder if it just kind of put people off or gave that strong association with the name Perry. Who knows? Kevin also has not been so popular since then, but it is coming back in style, and I imagine that Perry Edwards of Little Mix fame, my favourite Little Mixer, don't want to be controversial, but I do love Perry, has brought it back into style. But you were all using it with the Y, but it can be IE, like how she spells it, like a Freddie. So it was actually only 12 babies called Perry last year, so it's a really, really unique choice. So lovely to see it on so many of your lists. And what else is interesting, doing some background research into the name Perry, is one line of thought is that it came from a derivative of Harry, so that your son of Harry was then Parry, and then it became Perry. So if you do have a Harry somewhere in your family, I thought that was a really sweet thing to know. Or if the dad is Harry, or the mum is Harriet, then you could have a little Perry, and it does sound really, really lovely together. So I was going to say I hope you like those names, but I know you'll like those names because you chose them and they were your most popular and favourite ones. So really thank you again for joining in. It's so much fun to do this together. I love collaborating with you guys. You're the most amazing people that I want to ever collaborate with, and I couldn't think of anyone better to come up with amazing names. Next week I will do your top requested video that you can request in the description box below. Next week I will do whatever you want me to, so do request a name list. I know you do it every single week, and I do read them all, and they're all on a long list, so I can go back to that or pop it up again, and whichever gets the most likes is the one that I normally do the week after, because it really keeps it fresh over here and fun and involves you guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already, so you don't miss any, and you can go back and watch my old playlist. Stay safe. Yeah, stay safe. We're in the UK, so things are changing again, so just take care of you, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.